Hello, everyone, and welcome to the O Mindfulness online guided meditation. We're here to support each other in our formal practice and to share a little bit of teaching. Today, I'm going to talk about change, and I'm changing the format. I'm going to share a few words about change and then guide 10 minutes mindfulness of the breath. Mindfulness is about being in the present moment and being here kindly. And it can take some practice because we tend to spend a lot of time in our thoughts and projecting off into the future and thinking about the past rather than being in the here and now. I thought this week about change because we've just changed the clocks. The hour went back 2 days ago. And I realized that as much as I enjoy that extra hour, it feels as though somebody's just given me a wonderful gift. I was resisting the change and there was an uneasy feeling. And I thought, well, what's going on here? When I looked, I realized a slight regret, the loss of summer, and a little bit of a bracing. Here comes the winter and having to wrap up warm. And then I realized that so often when change occurs, there is some resistance. And we might be aware of the big difficulties in our lives and be able to approach them mindfully, as is suggested. But we might not notice the small difficulties, these changes that need to be noticed and accommodated. And if we aren't aware that changes are taking us a little bit off center, then we're missing a valuable opportunity. And it can change our mood, it can take the shine off our day. And before we know it, this discomfort with change has influenced the next part of our day. It's influenced our mood and our thoughts. And so often these changes are so subtle that they affect us without us really being aware. And when we meditate, we notice perhaps that everything changes as we are watching. Our physical sensations change, our mood changes, our thoughts change. And then we realize that, in fact, that is the truth, that everything changes constantly, the truth of impermanence. And if we're not aware of everything changing and if we're resisting it, then it's a little bit like driving with the brakes on. And so to practice being with these changes in meditation can then prepare us for being with changes in our day-to-day life. And we notice that our physical state changes, our mood changes, conversations create new opportunities and challenges. And moment by moment, we are experiencing something different. And as I've said, if we don't roll with it, if we're fighting in a way, and if we're attaching to how things were or how things should be, then we are in a constant state of struggle and, in fact, suffering. And so, the more mindful we are with the more accepting our approach, the more we stay abreast of this constant evolving moment by moment experience of living. And and then when people say, well, where did the time go? We know where it went because we were there. We were there really noticing. And yes, it might go quickly, but yes, we were present with all those subtle changes. And of course, it helps. We notice our skin changes, we notice our children grow, we notice the political situation changes. And if we can be with it and up to date, then we are in a state of openness, and we are accessing the part of ourselves which is coping and seeing possibilities and opportunities, and we're not in a state of being on the back foot and wary. So let's practice being with change as we meditate on the breath, noticing that the sensation of the breath changes, that our body sensations change as we observe, and see if we can just be with what's there without attaching to how it should be, and prepare ourselves for living life in this way of it doesn't mean being thrown around like flotsam. It means more being constant and aware while everything is changing. And it all happens in every moment. So sitting in a dignified posture helps, keeps us alert. So closing our eyes, for 10 minutes, mindfulness of the breath, and noticing this transition of coming into a formal meditation, maybe setting the intention to be aware, to be kind, to be as present as we can be. And the best way of coming into the present moment is through coming into contact with the physical body. Aware of how it feels to sit. Giving into the support of the chair or the cushion. Aware perhaps of the physical feelings in our hands, in our feet. And if there happens to be any tingling or sense of touch or pressure, notice that as we observe, it might change and flux. And keeping abreast of these changes. Being interested to stay in this moment with these physical sensations, however they may move and alter. And it's literally a moment by moment awareness. So aware of the body sitting, aware of the changing physical sensations, aware of our changing level of attention. Aware of the different thoughts that arise. and what it's like to leave them and come back to the body. And it's useful to turn our attention to the breath. And we can feel the various senses of filling, of emptying, of flow, of pauses. A place to notice the physical sensations and to notice where the thoughts go. Maybe off with a sound and an association. Maybe off with a thought, which is a worry or a plan or a daydream. And coming back to the simple physical sensations of breathing. And if our mind has been very busy, just turning our attention to physical sensations leaves a little less room for ruminative thought. We're filling some of the available space with awareness of the breath, with attention to the moment. And we're particularly interested in what changes as we observe. And ready to notice the change as we listen to the bell at the end of our session. Opening our eyes and noticing how that feels. And are we feeling different from how we were 10 minutes ago? So I invite you to have a day full of moments and to notice subtle changes. Look out for those transitions that can sometimes derail us if we're not aware, and embrace what you find. I'll see you again soon for another mindfulness session, and thank you for being here. And here are the woods I'll show you. It's such a beautiful day. Bye bye for now.